Hello everybody, it's me, Technovoid, you know, the guy on the channel who sometimes says things and plays video games. Well, I've decided here to get on the bandwagon here about these here tier lists. Cause you gotta strike when the iron's hot. God knows I tried to do that with Deltarune and it did not work. I was like a week too late on that. So I've generally not had a good track record with sorta these whole memes and these things that are popular at the current time. Maybe this time I'll hit it. Who's to say? I don't know. Anyways, so you may or may not know. In fact, if you don't know, it's probably better for you. But tier lists are a big thing on YouTube right now, for some reason or another. And Danganronpa also exists. You may or may not know this. So what I've decided to do here today, for you, in just one piece of low-effort content that takes basically nothing out of me, except I had to make this little tier list thing one too hard. We're gonna do something. We're gonna rate all the Danganronpa characters in a non-spoiler fashion, so that those of you who have nothing to know about the series, you can go and try this series afterwards if it tickles your fancy. For those of you who sort of know what's going on, you can sort of already see from the character selection here that we've got here what I mean by no spoilers. Basically, you can watch this and still go into the games just A-okay, no problemo. If you're interested, not necessarily sure that's a good idea, but if you want, I guess the option is in fact open to you. So originally I was just going to do a character rating of how much I like each character. Then I realized that all of the V3 characters would be at the top, all of the Danganronpa 2 characters would be in the middle, and all of the Danganronpa 1 characters would be at the bottom. And so I figured that wouldn't be a very good list. Instead, what I've decided to do here is I've decided that I'm going to rate all these characters based on their designs in-game, and how well they sort of get across their ultimate talent and their personality. For those of you, I should backtrack a little bit. For those of you who don't know what Danganronpa is, it was kind of the first battle royale in a sense. It is a series where a bunch of high school students who all have a talent that they're very, very good at are brought into an enclosed space and they gotta kill each other to leave. And the only way to leave is to successfully murder one of their classmates and then get away with it without anyone figuring out it was them in a class trial. So that's general just what's going on. Obviously, I'm not a character designer. I mean, I do, design a lot of characters, but not professionally. So don't take my word for anything here. I mean, I figured it was worth making a video about. But that doesn't mean you should take anything I say as make your own decisions, I guess is what I'm saying. But here's sort of my thoughts on the Danganronpa 1, 2, and V3 cast. Let's start off with Akane Awori here. Just a really solid, strong start from the Danganronpa series. With Danganronpa 2, Akane Awori, the ultimate gymnast. Man, so this sure is a character design. As we can see here, she is a gymnast, I think. I mean, she's got sort of athletic-y arms, so maybe athletics. I really would not have guessed gymnast at any point. We are going to be using the sort of half-body sprites, by the way, to sort of just talk about all these characters, because it's what you see in-game. So I figure, sure, the concept art has more for them, regarding their talents, but it's also not what you're necessarily looking at. So I just, based on what you're looking at in-game, what are you getting here? And with Akane, you're getting that she's got messy hair, and she doesn't tie up her shirt a lot, which, in some sense is really just an excuse for cleavage. But also, I guess one could argue, she's got a carefree attitude, and okay, fair enough. But there's really nothing to this character design other than breasts, unfortunately. The arm thing about her being sort of athletic, I guess, is there. She's wearing a skirt down here, which is not really anything in terms of a character. This is a very bland character design, honestly, and it really says nothing about her ultimate talent. It says very little about who she is as a character, so I'm going to go ahead and give Akane Awori our very first F tier. Sorry, Akane, you're not a good character design. Next up, we got Angie Yanaga from Danganronpa V3. And unlike Danganronpa 2, V3 actually has some pretty good character design. Not to say that 2 doesn't. But this, I think Angie is already leaps and bounds above what Akane is. She is the ultimate artist, and two things. I mean, one, I think the jacket maybe sort of gives off that vibe. It sort of looks like a sort of big tarp that you would maybe wear while you were painting, like a painter's jacket, so it's a bit of a stretch maybe, but also something I just noticed is that she actually has, whatchamacallits down here, paintbrushes on her sort of sash thing down here on her thing. So, you know, some artist vibes. I'm getting some artist vibes. That's a little bit hard to see, so not too many points for that. But she is definitely an artist. What I really think is strong about Angie's design, though, is that it really does sort of portray a very aloof character that's sort of very island surfer bro type character. She's got bleached hair, so, you know, she's out in the sun a lot. She's very tan, whether natural skin color or tan, whatever, you know she's out in the sun. Sort of her outfit of the bra or the swimsuit or whatever, the seashell necklace, you're sort of getting just sort of this, like, I'm not too worried about how I look. Like, I'm not the ultimate fashionista here, I'm the ultimate artist, and I'm just gonna do my own thing. And I can appreciate what this design does. Unfortunately, the artist element isn't on display as much as I'd like, but I do think it is a overall pretty solid design. There could be more done with it, but overall, you know, pretty good overall start. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Angie a B tier. Alright, next up is Aoi from Danganronpa 1. And unfortunately, we're back to Akane's problem. This is sort of just the problem with the breast characters, is they're just there for that cheesecake. She's wearing a swimmer jacket, I guess. She's the ultimate swimmer. It's a bland design. The hair is sort of strange. Nothing is really going on here. I do like Aoi a lot, but nothing really informs her character here about the kind of person she is. Maybe if she had a donut hair clip instead of this, I would score her a little bit higher, because, you know, she really likes donuts, and I know that's sort of a basic level thing, but a lot of stuff about Aoi is pretty basic, and, you know, not really getting a swimmer vibe here, besides sort of the jacket. The athleticism, again, kind of like with Akane, sort of a weak direction to take it. Overall, Aoi, really just another excuse for big old titties, so I'm gonna have to give her another F tier, because there's not really anything in her design. But now we come to Byakuya Togami. And this, I mean, you look at this man's, and you say, this is a skinny pretty boy who gives off an air of superiority. He is the ultimate affluent progeny. Say that 3 times fast. And really, this just works. His garb, his attire, works perfectly with who he is, and he acts like how he acts like the affluent progeny. Very much not an obvious talent to display as the rich kid on the block, but you can just tell, but just the glasses, the neat haircut, the whatever the fuck this whole cross thing is, and just the very neat suit. You can even see a pocket watch here. Like, you can tell this is a rich kid, you can tell this is a smart kid, you can tell this guy thinks he's better than you, and probably is better than you. This is just a really solid design. There's nothing really to add here. To make anything you sort of added to Byakuya Togami would make him, I feel like, a weaker design than he currently is. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give him the very first S tier. So good job, Byakuya. Congratulations. The ultimate affluent progeny. He's done it. He's done it again. Which leads us in. By the way, that was Danganronpa 1. I should say the games they're from. This is Celestia Ludenberg, also from Danganronpa 1. And her design is extra as shit. And it doesn't inform anything about her character other than she's a goth chick. Really, ultimate gambler, really no connection to gambling that I can tell. The only thing that one could possibly say is her extraness is sort of her putting up a facade, you know, because she's, you know, a liar and she's got the poker face. So it's like a facade of, you know, who she is. as much as I personally dislike Celeste, her design is at least unique to the Danganronpa series. So I'm not going to give her an F tier, but really, the only thing you can really get from this is, I mean, you might even think she's like the ultimate mate or something, which she's not. She's the ultimate gambler, which, what? Where exactly is this? So, I mean, all you get from this is that she's goth, and that's not great, so I'm going to go ahead and give her a C tier. A little bit better than no character design, but it's minor. So next we got to move into Chiaki. I'm going to get some hate for this, but Chiaki does not have a good character design. She is obvious waifu bait, and you do get the sense that she's a gamer, sort of, but not for the right reasons. She's a gamer, so we put a little Galaga in her hair. Galaga hairpin. I know I was saying for Aoi, put a donut hairpin in her hair, and we'll call it a day. But that wouldn't make Aoi a good design, it would just make Aoi not an F tier design. And the same thing here, this is such a lazy implementation, when there's so much they could have done. The one thing they did right with Chiaki, I think, is the kitty hoodie that she occasionally wears. That's pretty much the only thing about this design that is a nice touch. There's really no personality in this design anywhere, and the gaming aspect is displayed incredibly lazily. I think it would be really strong if Danganronpa maybe didn't make every female character look the exact same, and maybe we could have gotten a slightly different body type for Chiaki, but then I guess she wouldn't be a good waifu, and you can't have that because you gotta like Chiaki, because she's a gamer girl. And I'm trying to be unbiased here, I really am, but there's nothing here. I mean, there's a backpack, I guess. I don't know, do gamers wear backpacks so they can put their Nintendo 3DSs in there? There's nothing here. I mean, you can sort of see her talent, and the design is like not terrible to look at, so I'm gonna give her a C tier, but I really can't justify even a B for Chiaki. As much as people like her, I just don't think she deserves it. Which, Danganronpa 2, by the way, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna start saying their names. Which leads us into, where's my water? Leads us into Chihiro Fujisaki from Danganronpa 1. I'll say this about Chihiro. She does, the design really doesn't say anything about her being the ultimate programmer, and that is a weak point. But I do think Chihiro does have a very good design, regardless. She's very small, she's very lean, has a very lean stature. That goes a long way, a really long way, specifically with Chihiro, sort of with her sort of personality and just sort of her arc as she, progresses. Just sort of an unassuming outfit, which works well. I think the strong thing here about Chihiro is that there's nothing outstanding, and it's sort of a generic design. Unfortunately, it's just sort of the anime lolly girl, sort of, but I think for the kind of person Chihiro is trying to be, it does work as a design. And so, even though there's sort of no programming aspect here, and it is sort of a pretty bland, lazy design, I think for Chihiro, that is a sort of very important aspect to her character. So, as bland as it is, I am going to give her a B tier for that, because I do think it works. As a character, it informs her character. When you see her, and you look at her, and you hear her talk, it fits. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of short characters, here's Fuyuhiko Kuzuryu from Danganronpa 2, and he is the ultimate Yakuza. And this is great. This buzz cut, these got these hair patterns going on down here. This is very good gangsta feel. He's very clear ultimate talent, both with like sort of the hair, the stern expression, his jacket, his tie. It's all very, maybe not necessarily Yakuza, but you definitely sort of get a crime aspect of him. Either he's, some kind of tycoon, some sort of drug dealer, some sort of Yakuza guy. Very sort of clear intention with this design. Also the fact that he does have these childish features. He does have this sort of blush. He does have these freckles. He does, have a baby face. And the fact that he's very short, he's not buff at all. He's specifically not buff. He's very lean. Really does inform sort of his character, what he's about, the issues he sort of experiences, and this is a very, very good design that both works in terms of who he is as a character, as well as who he is in terms of his talent. This is a very solid design, and as much as I like Fuyuhiko, I think he deserves the S tier regardless of whether or not I liked it, because it's a very good design. Which leads us into Gonta, another very good boy from Danganronpa V3, who, much like Chiaki, Gonta's design really only has one aspect that shows off his talent. And that is, he's the ultimate entomologist. He has a bug cage strapped to his chest. That's kind of lazy, I'm gonna be honest. But unlike Chiaki, I do think Gonta's design does other things pretty well. Sort of his long, messy sort of hair, just broad chest, just incredible muscles, enormous stature. You're definitely getting these, jungle Tarzan vibes or whatever. But you're also getting these glasses and sort of this, the expression's kind of stern, but just like with the tie and the glasses and sort of the suit, Peanut Scratch described him as business Tarzan, which I like very much, but you're sort of getting sort of a kind, or yeah, at least maybe not necessarily kind, but you're getting a dignified feel from him in some sense, and sort of he's this gentle giant character, and I think that really does, as much as the sort of entomologist bit is kind of lazily tacked on, his backstory as a character and who he is very well portrayed in this character design. One of the best in Danganronpa, and he also has a very unique design compared to a lot of characters. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Gonta Gokuhara, the ultimate entomologist, the first A tier. Not quite there, unfortunately, just barely missing S tier because the ultimate talent is not really prevalent. Which leads us into Gundam Tanaka, who is Extra Boy McGee. I love Gonta. I do love Gonta. This guy's from Danganronpa 2, though, and I do love him too. Gundam Tanaka, the ultimate breeder, is very good. However, you can't tell he's the ultimate breeder. You think maybe he's the ultimate Yu-Gi-Oh champion, but definitely not the ultimate breeder from this. Sometimes he's got his little hamsters, his little Davis, but not in this sprite, and not in just the basic sprite. So how am I supposed to know he breeds animals? Points off for that, Gundam, sorry. Unlike Celestia, his over-the-top design does sort of inform who he is as a character, his character traits. He's very, very unique design here, at least for Danganronpa. It's not super unique for anime, I think, but it is super unique for Danganronpa. It does have some clashing elements, though, which I guess sort of works, but it also sort of doesn't. Not a super clear design theme with Gundam here. There's some clashing choices. It does work for who Gundam is, but it also just doesn't work in terms of a actual design, and also in terms of him being the ultimate breeder. So it's got some good bits, it's got some bad bits. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in B, even though I love him. That's who he is. Which leads us into Hajime Hinata. He's from Danganronpa 2. He is the protagonist, and also his talent is unknown. He's basic McBasic. There's nothing to this guy. He is a blank slate. He is a really good player stand-in. That's exactly what he is. Which makes him not at all interesting and easily replaceable. But also the design really fits well for, someone who we don't know the talent for and is supposed to be the player. So as, boring as it is, it's doing its job. So I really have to give him a B tier in the sense that he's completely average. Everything about him is average. in terms of his design, and that's exactly right. That's exactly what it should be. So he's not good, and he's not bad. He's straight down the middle. Hifumi Yamada from Danganronpa 1. This is not a good design. Not only is his tie incredibly obnoxious, I don't like his tie. He's the ultimate, I believe it is, it's not hentai artist, but it's like doujin artist or whatever you have. It's he draws manga based on video games and like sort of pop culture shit. I believe it's what's going on here. And his defining trait that shows this is that he's fat. And his stupid face. It's this design is so bad in that it is just built around a caricature that doesn't meaningfully describe his character whatsoever, other than like, oh, he's an otaku. Like, this is just what otakus look like. There's nothing here unique about Hifumi. There's nothing here that shows me the kind of person he is. I see this and I go, okay, this is a two-dimensional character. Ironically, being that he was probably very round, but he's very flat in terms of what this character design sort of says to me. There's really nothing here. He's just the fat one. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw him in F tier where he fucking belongs. Oh, Himiko Yumino, you are from Danganronpa V3. You are the ultimate magician. I don't like you as a character whatsoever. I fucking hate you, Himiko, but you know, I can't fault you for this, and it's that your design is clear and it works well. There's no clashing aspects, and it can, you know, this witch hat, that tells me what your talent is. You got this little pin that's, what is it? It's like a sort of a comet, I guess? I mean, sure, yeah, magic's, it works. It's a bland design. More can definitely be done with Himiko, but there's really nothing to complain about. I mean, in terms of her talent, this is basically perfect. It doesn't go too far, but it does enough that she's instantly recognizable as the ultimate magician. And, you know, she's sort of got this whole bored expression, and, you know, the bob cut, you know, Himiko Yumino. She's just sort of there. She's just going with the flow. It works on a lot of levels. Could more be done? I think so. Is it a bad design? Not by any means. I'm going to go ahead and throw Himiko into A tier, which literally would only be possible if I was not taking into account how I feel about the characters, because I don't much care for her. Which leads us into Hyoko Sayanji from Danganronpa 2. Hyoko's got three main aspects to her. A, she's a child. She's very, very young. I mean, she's the same age, but she's the lolly of Danganronpa 2. B, she's a traditional dancer. She's the ultimate traditional dancer. And 3, she's a mean son of a bitch. Her aggressive nature isn't on display here, but her short stature and dress sort of make pretty much clear what she is, who she is, and the choices are pretty cohesive. The childish ribbons that she's got up here are a nice touch. I like these. The outfit she's wearing very clearly conveys what her ultimate talent is. These sort of big bangs that she's got going on here do sort of work in terms of, like, you know, she's a kid. Kids have big ponytails, I guess, I think. But they also kind of look like horns or fangs or whatever, which, you know, does kind of work for, you know, her being kind of super mean. But it also is a very good contrast. Her sort of cute face is a very good contrast for her sort of demeanor. I think Himiko, unfortunately, works... I said Himiko. Hyoko works really well as a character design, and I don't think it's S tier. I don't quite think it's there. I'm not sure why not, but this feels like an A tier design to me. I don't know why, and maybe she does deserve S. Maybe she really does. I'm gonna put her in A tier tentatively. I think if so far of any of these characters that could be moved up, I think she would probably deserve to be moved up the most. but it's just not quite there for me. There's just something missing that just would make Hiyoko a little bit more interesting. Maybe it's just that the garb is a little bit too basic, but who's to say? Dijun Danganronpa 2, another Danganronpa 2 character. We got Ibuki Miyota, the ultimate, I think she's just called the ultimate musician, but she might as well be the ultimate, punk, artist, chick, whatever. Also, super extra, that works in tandem with her, kind of the way it works with Gundam. The talent, I think, is pretty obvious here. Like, it's not the most obvious thing. She is just sort of wearing a sailor uniform, but she's got these, piercings in her ears. She's got these piercings under her lip. She's got this hair shit. She's looking like a punk rocker, She's looking like a punk. Ibuki's a punk. She's got these leggings that you cannot see here, but she has these multicolored leggings that sort of have holes in them. She's got a hole here. Just sort of a pretty solid design. She's got these weird horns. She's not overbearing though. Kind of, I feel, in the way that Celestia and Gundam are sort of overbearing in their designs. And Celeste, who's really does nothing for the character. Gundam's, who does do something for the character. Ibuki's definitely does something for her character, given that she's a very sort of wacky, zany girl. But it's also, like, pretty unique to her, and it brands her as a specific kind of crazy that doesn't hurt my eyes to look at. I think Ibuki's S, honestly. The talent, I think, is obvious enough. Like, it's not, she doesn't have a guitar strapped to her back, but she does sort of have, I feel like, enough guesses towards what she would be that I think you could look at her and make a pretty solid guess that she's some sort of, musician to some extent. I think, even if not musician, you maybe guess tattoo artist, but, it's not completely that far off from who Ibuki is as a character. So I'm gonna give her an S tier. Actually, I think that Ibuki, the crazy works in a way that Gundam and Celeste don't. Her crazy really does sort of fit completely well, and also looks good in a way that the other ones might not. So now we move on to Junko Enoshima from Danganronpa 1. The design here is not terrible, but it doesn't really do any favors. The talent, so she's the ultimate fashionista. I sort of get that from, I don't know, I guess, like, the bows and shit in the hair, but the sort of really big eyeliner here. But it can be confusing. You might think she's the ultimate hairdresser, maybe. She's pretty bland and forgetful overall, this design. So it's not the worst. There's definitely worse designs that, like, show nothing about the character. This, I would argue, shows a little bit. At least there's something on display here with the sort of, cute hair thing. She really seems very hair-based, so you'd think she'd have some hair-based talent, and she doesn't not have a hair-based talent. It's just, it's the whole thing. She's supposed to be a fashion icon, and I think it works. I think the eyeliner does a lot. I think without sort of the excessive makeup on the face, I think Junko here would be worse off. So I think it does work on some levels, but in the end it is pretty bland. I'm gonna give her a C tier. Kaede from Danganronpa V3. This is our second protagonist on the list. But unlike Hajime, she kind of has the issue with Chiaki where, she's the ultimate pianist. So let's throw some musician's notes in her hair and some musics on her skirt, and that's it. It's not terrible, but, I feel like there's a better implementation here. I don't know what it is. It feels, the talent sort of feels shoehorned onto her. It's not the most interesting implementation. As a protagonist, I can sort of forgive Kaede not being the most visually interesting character, but unlike Hajime, Kaede is a very forceful, has a very forceful personality that sort of makes her not a player stand-in. Like, with Hajime, you're very much playing as Hajime, whereas with Kaede, you're sort of playing looking at Kaede. Because maybe it's just because I'm not a girl, but she has more personality than Hajime does. Like, she is her own person. She's not meant to be someone that you play as, more as someone you play with, in a sense, if that makes any sense. So sort of for that, I have to dock her on the boring design when the personality is anything but boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Kaede, I'm thinking, a C tier. Just because kind of like with Junko, kind of boring, with Chiaki kind of boring. The only one who isn't boring here is Celeste, but Celeste has other problems, honestly. Kaito Momota from Danganronpa V3. This is a good design. I really do like Kaito's design a lot. I think it informs his character very well. He could be mistaken, I think, for a lot of characters, and the design is pretty common. It doesn't necessarily feel like Danganronpa if you don't already know him, and unfortunately the only really instance of his ultimate talent, which is the ultimate astronaut, is on the inside of his jacket, which you can't see in this particular sprite. He has basically like galaxies and stuff. So I am going to dock him points on not having a super clear talent. And I'm going to dock him points on being kind of basic, but Kaito works still, I think. This seems minor if you don't know who Kaito is, but having one arm through the actual jacket and having one arm not through the jacket really just sort of, on a visual level, shows the kind of character Kaito is. Like, he's messy, sure. I mean, you can see from his hair and his, goatee, his, the buttons on his shirt, the jacket that's sort of flapping in the wind, that not really. He's got one foot in this sort of carefree, lackadaisical sort of world, kind of in the same vein as Akane does. But on the other hand, he's sort of a half and half here, where he's also, when he needs to be, he's reliable. And I do think, from his determined expression, his half and half that's sort of going on here, his hair, I think it does come off very well. It does inform who he is very well, even if it's not the most, creative design or says anything about him being an ultimate astronaut. So for that, I am going to stick him into, I think, B tier. I think B tier works for Kaito Momota. On to Kazuichi Soda from Danganronpa 2. He's the ultimate mechanic, and you know what? I can tell that pretty obviously. He's got, the jumpsuit, the yellow jumpsuit, and he's got, screws, lightning bolts, caution signs. It works. I can tell what he is. He's the ultimate mechanic. I think he's kind of a shitty character. His stupid fucking teeth and his stupid fucking hair definitely define his character properly from the start. Kind of the same way Ibuki does. His clothes clearly convey the talent, and he's very, very recognizable. Nothing here feels unnecessary. Soda has a good design. Like it or not, I mean, Soda, he's recognizable, his talent is recognizable, and his personality is recognizable. There's really nothing bad about Soda. Soda's an S tier. I can't believe I'm saying that, but Soda's an S tier somehow. That's, maybe I need to reevaluate my criteria if Soda's an S tier, because it's pretty much never ever true. But on to Kibo from Danganronpa V3. He's the ultimate robot, and he sure is that. He is a robot. That's, yup, you can see from the eyes and the, whatever's going on here, and the fact that he's made of robot. Not an awful design, by any means, but there's nothing to write home about here. He's got a bland design that doesn't do anything wrong. It just doesn't do anything right either. It's... I would put Kibo in B tier, except that I feel like with the ultimate robot, there was so much potential to do something more interesting, and so I'm actually going to put him in C. I think if just a little bit more was done with Kibo, because with the ultimate robot, you have so much opportunity, and they really took none of it. So that's Kibo in a nutshell. On to Kurumi Tojo, also from Danganronpa V3, the Ultimate Maid. This time it actually is the Ultimate Maid, unlike with Celeste. She's Maid, and she's calm. And both those character aspects do come through pretty clearly in this design. She's nothing special. I would give her an A tier. She's not, the most visually interesting character, but, it does get across that she's a maid. It does get across that she's sort of pretty level-headed. She's only got the, the one eye visible, but, she's very straight-laced. Sort of you get that. You got the tie, very clean character. I would give it an A tier, but here's one thing I don't get. I don't understand the cobwebs that's going on here. This makes her look like she's goth, and she's not. So I don't know why they did that. It's not a bad thing, and I think it would be worse if it was just complete. Well, maybe not, because she is sort of a straight-laced character. If it was completely black, but maybe if you did want to do a design sort of for her stuff to make her more visually interesting, maybe something that related to Kurumi as a person instead of this completely out of left field sort of gothic thing that's going on. Because as far as I can tell, Kurumi ain't a goth character, so I don't really know what's up with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her a B tier. Solid, but sort of misses the mark on the design of her clothing for some odd, strange reason. Kiyotaka Ishimaru from Danganronpa 1. One of the good designs from Danganronpa 1, I will say. One of the good characters from Danganronpa 1. Kiyotaka he's the ultimate moral compass. In the Japanese version, he's the ultimate hall monitor. But he's the ultimate moral compass in the English version. And this works. I mean, he's got sort of the very short haircut that is... It's spiky, so it's short, so you can tell he's rule oriented, but it's also spiky that he's gonna make sure everyone's following the rules. He ain't no slouch, he ain't no welcome mat. Kiyotaka is gonna make sure you follow those damn rules. His stance, he's complete, just soldier, just ready at attention. Buttons 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect buttons. You got the sash on the arm, you got the metal, you get the perfect white, completely clean expression, huge eyebrows, red eyes, just going nuts here, just frowny face. It shows off exactly what he's supposed to be. I want to take off points for straightforwardness, but it enforces sort of the traits that he has going on. It's not sort of the one. Kiyotaka's another character that I feel like really deserves S tier, but he really just isn't interesting to look at. Like, you don't want him to be the one talking for long periods of time, because unless you got a very specific kind of kink, there's just very little happening with this character, just visually, which again, it does work, but it is also like, I'm trying to play a visual novel here, so A tier. Kind of like Saionji, there's nothing really wrong with the character at all, so he does probably deserve S, but since this is a personal opinion, I don't think he's as visually impressive as someone like Ibuki or Soda. And even with characters like Fuyuhiko and Byakuya, they might not be the most colorful characters, but their designs work really, really well, and they're not ugly to look at. Not to say Taka is ugly, but it's not quite there for me. Hanako Kichiyama, my favorite character in all of Danganronpa from Danganronpa V3. Unfortunately, his design is not quite as perfect as the rest of him. His design's just okay. He might as well sort of be Celeste 2.0. He's the ultimate supreme leader. Which means what exactly? Who knows? He lies. That's his thing. Kochichi likes to lie. So he's sort of Celeste 2.0 in terms of, he's putting up a poker face. He's putting, he's unreadable. What is he doing? What's his talent? What's going on? You can't tell what direction Kokichi's sort of swinging in. And he's got these multicolored buttons, sort of an uneven number of buttons. He's got 2, 3 here, 4 here. It's sort of tattered at the bottom. This weird ass checker, thing going on, some sort of chain. He's just very uneven design. The hair has sort of this messy look to it. What I think Kokichi succeeds where Celeste fails is Kokichi kind of looks like a jack of all trades. You know, if I'm gonna be using a poker analogy and cards, he's sort of a jack of all trades, whereas Celeste is a joker. You know, Celeste just looks like a joke, whereas Kokichi really does look like just unreadable. Like, you don't know where he's going with this. Whereas with Celeste, it's like, I know where you're going with this, and where it is dumb. So it works well. Sort of your clothes and the hair is giving off some chaotic fun, but it doesn't show his talent in really any way whatsoever. So you know what, Kokichi, you're B tier. You know, unfortunately, you are B tier. Yep, that's where you belong, buddy. Only not in my heart. You're S+ tier in my heart. On to Korekyo Shinguchi, also from V3 Ultimate Anthropologist. Now, my question to you is, how are you going to show off Ultimate Anthropologist as a talent? The answer is you're not, really. But I also think Korekyo Shinguchi is perhaps the best, one of the best, if not the best designed character in the series. Whether or not you like Korekyo, there's no denying that this design is unique, and it fits him very, very well as a mysterious creep. Because that's what he is. He's mysterious, and he's a huge fucking creepazoid. There's not really sort of the one-to-one comparison here with Hifumi, the way there is with Celeste and Kokichi, but I do feel like he does sort of share some qualities with Hifumi in terms of he's not necessarily supposed to be liked. You're supposed to sort of keep your distance from this boy here. Just be like, what's going on, man? You know? So I feel like some aspects of his design could have been used in Hifumi's design, maybe. He's instantly recognizable. Really, his entire character is displayed here. He's got a very interesting design. You've got this thing that you got on the hat. It's also here on the sash. You got the bandaged up arms. You've got the face mask with the zipper. You got the same sort of thing as Byakuya here. I don't know if this is a pocket watch, but something. You got a chain. Some weird studs here. Sort of looks like a military uniform, but not quite. Just sort of really distinct. And I mean, I will be honest, this to me says Ultimate Anthropologist as much as anything else does. I think the one thing that does sort of give it away is sort of this pocket watch and these various sorts of things that look like he looks very cultural. And what Korekyo's sort of, anthropology is all about is about, various cultures, their folks' tales, their myths or whatever. And he does sort of give off that vibe. He looks like, to some degree, an Oni, a Japanese Oni with the hair. It works. It's perfect. Korekyo has one of the best designs in the series. Like him or hate him, he has a really, really good design. Kyoko from Danganronpa 1. This is the unknown talent from the first game. Each game has one character whose talent is unknown, and Kyoko's the one from Danganronpa 1. And her design is the mysterious chick. It works. She's decently unique. There's nothing super, eye-opening about Kyoko here, but there's also, you can't give anything away with Kyoko is the point. So in the same way as Hajime, it kind of works, and she, unlike Hajime, she is interesting to look at. She's got, this tie that is clearly too long. This jacket has, some interesting traits to it. The hair thing is a nice, the hairband, whatever it is a nice touch. The haircut, she's got, basically two types of haircuts here with this singular braid. It's an interesting design. She's not perfect, but I don't really know what else they could have done for a character that is, supposed to be mysterious. The purple sort of design is a sort of pretty much unused sort of color for a lot of Danganronpa. So I think she is a nice contrast to a lot of other characters, and I think it works well. I'm going to give her an A tier. I'm going to give my girl Kyoko an A tier. Moving on to Leon, also from Danganronpa 1. I get why Leon's appearance doesn't show that he's the ultimate baseball star. I understand why, from his lore, why that's not being really shown. He's trying to be a punk rocker. I get it, sort of like Ibuki is, but it's done poorly. He's not F tier, because I do understand why he looks the way he does. You know, there is a reason to this madness, but it's a lame design. It's overdone. He's not that recognizable, maybe a little bit recognizable, but not for the right reasons. He's recognizable because he looks stupid. He looks like a joke. Leon's kind of a fucking joke. I mean, it's ugly. It's not a good design. It informs his character slightly in terms of who he is, but for that same reason, it also shows nothing about his talent. So Leon is a C tier. Leon's not a great design. Mayuru Koizumi from Danganronpa 2. She has a camera. Can't see here. She's got a little camera down here. Same problem as Chiaki and Gonta. That's it. That's the only thing you get about her talent, is that she's got a camera. They just put a camera on her and said, hey, boom, ultimate photographer. That's who you are, Mahiru. You can tell her talent, which makes me want to give her not an F tier, but there's 0 character traits anywhere in this design. This character is just Wendy's, and that's literally just because of her hair and freckles. That's when that is the defining trait of your character, you've done something wrong. If she's a fast food, mascot because of her hair color and the fact that she has freckles. This is a lazy design. Her talent does her no favors. Nothing here works. There's no character on display here. So for the same reason as these other characters, just there's nothing there. F tier. Sorry, Mahiru. Maki Harukawa, Danganronpa 3. I get why she looks the way she does. Same way as Leon, it informs her character in a good way. It's a good design. I think Maki does look good. She's, maybe not the most interesting character to look at, but there's enough here. There's this pin, these hair bands, this, the checker on the dress is nice, but it is bland. And it looks like millions of other characters throughout anime. It informs her somewhat, but it's not enough to justify a neutral rank for me. If you want, sort of mysterious girl who won't talk to you very much, look at Kyoko. Kyoko's a better version of this. Maki doesn't cut it. As I love Maki as a character, but this design does very little. As the ultimate child caregiver, so C tier for you, Maki. Makoto! Makoto's our final protagonist, and he's from Danganronpa 1, and he's another bland boy. As much as I dislike Naegi, he does fall into the same category as Hajime as the player character. Unlike Kaede, he does sort of, not really have a character, so you are again playing as him rather than with him. So I can't fault him on the basic character design too much, but unlike Hajime, whose talent is a mystery, Makoto's is not. He is the ultimate lucky student, and I feel like that could have been incorporated somewhere, and it isn't at all. Could be mistaken for anything, and so I'm giving him a C tier. There's not much really to say about Makoto. He's just kinda there. Mikan, Danganronpa 2. I don't like Mikan at all, but she has a very good design. Mikan is the accident-prone nurse who is unsure of herself. She's the ultimate nurse, and she's clumsy. And, like Mikan or not, which I definitely do not like Mikan, one of the reasons I tried to like Mikan is because her design is very good. It's very obvious, and it informs her character. It's unique to her, and it defines her perfectly. There's enough here to show off Nurse. She's got the bandaged arm to show off that she's clumsy. The hair, you can also tell, her shitty haircut, also, maybe not the most sure of herself, maybe not the best at, handling sharp tools, which might not be a good thing for a nurse. Maybe the scared expression, very, meek arms, sort of. It's a good design. It's a good design. She's S tier. Probably one of the weaker S tiers here. In fact, if she's S tier, then Hiyoko and... At least, maybe not Hiyoko, but I think Ishimaru also deserves S tier if Mikan deserves it. But Mikan is more visually interesting than Kiyotaka, so Yeah, S tier for now. Miyu Iruma from Danganronpa V3. She's got a good thing going on here. She's the ultimate inventor. What I can only assume is various BDSM equipment all over her body, between these barbed wires and these whatever the heck, chains she's got here going on, the fingerless gloves. She's got an aggressive personality, and it does show. She still looks like she fits into her talent, though. I mean, the goggles maybe bit of a cop out. Man, my throat's really hurting after all this talking. The thing is, it doesn't do much, but it's there. You have these sort of reticles that she's got on her clothing, and she's got the goggles, which is enough for Miyu to sort of describe who she is. If I didn't know better, maybe I would say she's the ultimate, BDSM artist or something. But, whatever. She's sort of the cheesecake of V3 in terms of the whole titty thing going on, kind of like with Aoi and Akane. But unlike Aoi and Akane, there's a lot more to sort of go off here. She's very visually interesting. She's also got the sort of messy hair thing going on, with her hair just going all sorts of places. But she looks a lot more confident. She looks a lot more driven. She knows what she's doing. Not really. I mean, all these bands across her body are sort of showing off that she's, a bitch in the same way as Hiyoko is. Nothing really wrong with this design, but it's not S. I think it's too noisy for an S, and I think more, if they wanted to be S, I would maybe not add anything. I would maybe change the outfit to more of a steampunky thing. I mean, it's already got some steampunk vibes, but I would maybe make it more steampunky. That's probably about it. She doesn't quite hit S tier, but she is a pretty solid A tier, I think. I think if Miyu is an A tier, I think Ishimaru is an A tier. I think that's a fair call. So next up is Mondo. Danganronpa 1. He's the ultimate biker. And yep, he's that. He's a biker. He's got the red hair that we all know and love from all our bikers in Japan. He's got the coat that we know and love from all our bikers in Japan. He's got, the body type. That's all he is. There's nothing wrong with this design per se, but by God is it boring to look at, and does pretty much nothing to define his character other than he is a biker, and that is his talent, so I'm not gonna fault him on that. B tier. Nothing wrong with it, but boy, if it didn't do anything at all. I know I put Kibo in C tier for basically the same reason, but unlike Kibo, at least Mondo's, got something going on with, the design on his jacket and stuff. Which leads us into Nagito, a fan favorite from Danganronpa 2, the ultimate lucky student of Danganronpa 2. He has a very, very good unassuming design. Doesn't have much to do with his talent, in fairness, but he does come off very well as sort of this chill guy with his hair sort of being messy, his outfit, he's got this hoodie with this, cool design. He's visually an interesting character. He's got, unlike, Makoto and his luckiness, the luckiness here maybe isn't showing, but you do have a cool design with this hoodie, and the hair is sort of maybe upsetting to some people, I know, but it's there, and he's a good partner. He's at the beginning of the game, he's sort of the one that you talk to a lot, so, it works. He's a good number 2 to you, and he's just sort of got this chill design that's cool to look at. I think Nagito gets an A tier. And we're going into Nekomaru Nidai from Danganronpa 2, the ultimate team manager. He's big, and he doesn't really look like he fits in this game. Maybe he being JoJo's, but he really does look more like a sports guy than a manager. I mean, I get he's got the whistle, which should be enough, but you don't get team manager from this. I don't know what the fuck the chain's for exactly. I don't know what part of Nekomaru requires a chain. I'll give him the eyeball, or the lightning strikes coming from his eyes. I'll give him that. He's a very intense man. so I won't take that away from him. I like him in that he's unique, and his physical design is good, but it's nothing special, and it doesn't really show off his talent. I'm gonna give Nekomaru a B tier, which I didn't think I was gonna do. I thought I was gonna give Nekomaru an A tier going into this, but there's just not quite enough going on, and the chain is sort of anti-helpful in terms of figuring anything out. But let's move on to Peko Pekoyama, also from Danganronpa 2, Ultimate Swordswoman. Good character design. She's not the most unique, but her talent is clearly on display. She's got, you know, a sword strapped to her back. And her outfit is, you know, pretty cohesive. Good colors. She sort of comes off as this very sort of quiet, studious, but deadly character. I really like what they did with her eyes here. I mean, she's got the glasses, obviously, but I really like what they did with her pupils. With the red, with the sort of almost like targets in her eyes. Like, you know, she's got fucking target reticles. She's got the very gray, monotone hair with the ponytails. She takes care of herself, but she's not avant-garde about it. The outfit, I like the dark colors, but it's contrasted with red, which I think is important because, you know, red is sort of a color of danger. And I think Peko's design works quite well. She's clearly thinking ahead, even if she's maybe not being the most robust character constantly. And, you know, the sword, as much as it is just like chucking, you know, a sword on her like with My Hero or whatever, it works with the outfit. It's not just slapped on after the fact. It was made, the outfit was made with the sword's design in mind. So I think it does work. If not for sort of the basic schoolgirl outfit, I think she would be an S tier. But she's not quite there. She's another A tier, I'm thinking. Which leads us into Rantaro Amami from Danganronpa V3. He is the ultimate question mark. Yep, that's it. He's our third unknown talent boy. The mystery talent. Once again, Rantaro, he can't give away too much, obviously. If he gave away too much, like with Kyoko or with Hajime, you knew what his talent was, it wouldn't be a fun reveal, would it? I'm dying. But also just this doesn't work as well as Kyoko's, because it gives off nothing to the point where there's nothing to sort of latch onto here. He's got a couple cool design elements. I really like this wheel, this spiked wheel he's got going on in his shirt. I like the rings he's got, the piercings, the dog tags almost, it looks like. He's whatever the heck is going on here. It's cool, but there's not much there about who he is as a person. Like, I get that they can't really say who he is in terms of his talent, but they could do more with who he is as a person, and they kind of don't do much here. Kind of like with Wendy's. The main meme around Rantaro is that he's an avocado boy, and that's because, you know, his hair is this color. So, yeah, if Rantaro is just gonna be relegated to avocado boy, then I'm gonna have to relegate him to C tier. Leading us into Ryoma Hoshi, the ultimate tennis pro from Danganronpa V3. It is a weird character design. It is not pleasant to look at this for long periods of time. I will give you that. But it works very much in the same vein as Hiyoko. His talent is on display. He is the ultimate tennis pro. I mean, he's got a tennis thing on his hat. Is that enough? Maybe not, but he's also chewing on this thing. I think it works. You know, it's a bit strange to look at long periods of time. Maybe some of his more interesting traits could be on display here, but he's got a very distinctive face, for sure. The hat is pretty unique. I mean, he's sort of borrowing the horns from Ibuki. He's sort of borrowing the hat from Soda. The jacket is a strange design with all these extra zippers. Why is that going on? And his pants seem to be striped in a strange way. Which, you know, maybe has something to do with his character. But if it does, I'm not going to talk about it. All I'm going to say is what is here is pretty good. And it, you know, you get a sort of kind of odd vibe, but you also get a serious vibe. That, you know, this guy's seen some shit. I mean, look into these eyes. Tell me this guy hasn't seen some shit. So I'm gonna give Ryoma Hoshi a solid A tier, because I think his design does what it needs to do, even if it is maybe a little bit disconcerting. Sakura Ugami from Danganronpa 1 is the ultimate martial artist, I believe. I'm not sure. But regardless, she's definitely athletic. She's got the bandages on the arms. She has one of the most unique female physiques in the games, in that she is very muscular, whereas most of the girls are just, you know, slim booby girls. But Sakura here's actually got a lot going on. The hair is really nice. She's got the scars, the expression, very good. The sort of tanned body, all these veins popping out. As I was saying, the bandages. One thing I think works really well with Sakura is she is wearing a schoolgirl outfit, which, you know, a lot of characters are wearing and a lot of characters pull off, but with Sakura, given her physique, it's ripped to like sort of shreds where her body is just too big to contain it. And I think that's a really funny and good design choice, because a lot of characters forget she's a girl when Sakura is in fact, you know, a woman, and she does have, you know, womanly feelings. So it is, I think, very important to her character that as buff and muscular and war-torn as she is, she does still have an aspect of femininity to her. And I think that's really important, and I think Sakura is an easy S rank. Moving on to Sayaka Mizuno from Danganronpa 1 Ultimate Pop Sensation. Is a boring character design. Talent is not visible here really at all. Maybe she's got blue hair, so she's Hatsune Miku. I don't know, she's sort of a porcelain doll look to her, so I guess she also looks like if she was on a stage and she fell down, she'd just fucking break in half. And she just looks like other anime girls. There's no visible personality here. She does not leave an impression whatsoever. I'm putting her in F tier. She just does not do anything. The outfit isn't interesting, the hair isn't interesting, the expression, there's nothing to her. Shuichi Saihara from V3, we're coming up on the end here. His hat annoys me to no fucking end. I hate this man's hat. Basically nothing about this guy says Ultimate Detective. He's the Ultimate Detective. How would you know? I don't know. General Grievous here on his little pocket telling me he's a detective, I guess. He's bland. But I will say the design actually ends up working in V3 for as sort of... This is one of those designs that I feel like makes more sense in the game. It works better in action than it does as a still, and I know Danganronpa, it's all fucking stills, but I think you sort of get what I mean, where sort of the character's personality and how he grows is very important, and I think sort of how he sort of, as things progress in his time alive within the killing game, he sort of, it sheds some light onto who he is and why he dresses the way he does. So at first glance, he is an F tier character, but given how he sort of progresses, I am going to give him a C. Because I do think what is here works in action. Which moves us on to Sonya from Danganronpa 2. She's the ultimate princess. She's not really a princess in any obvious manner. I mean, she's got, you know, this nice, long, platinum blonde hair. She's got this bow. She does have some regality to her. She's got the puffed up, whatchamacallums. I don't know what you call them. The shoulder pads. She's got some puffed up shoulder pads. She's visually distinctive, and I guess she looks like a porcelain doll, kind of the same way Sayaka does. But I feel like it makes more sense here with her being, you know, a princess. You know, she's very, you know, privileged, and she doesn't know much about the ways of the world. She's got the form-fitting belt here. She's decent. It's nothing out of the park, but it is decent. It's pretty middle of the road as far as I'm concerned. So B tier for you. Tenko from Danganronpa V3. She is the Tenko Master. I said that wrong. Aikido Master. No. Actually, she's got the ultimate propeller in her hair. Her character design does basically nothing to define her talent or her personality. She's not interesting to look at. Like, she's got aspects of being interesting to some degree, but it has nothing to do with her personality. I don't know why the fuck she has a fucking bell around her neck. Like, if you're being an Aikido master, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Having the long hair doesn't seem like a good idea. Wearing a skirt doesn't seem... Why the midriff? Why the skirt? Nothing about this informs who she is as a person or what her talent is. It's just... In some sense, it's even counterproductive. So... I don't think Tenko deserves F tier, but I can't think of a reason why Tenko wouldn't get an F tier. So please feel free to, change my mind in the comments, but the design doesn't work for who she is. If she had a different talent, perhaps, but as it stands, I mean, Aikido master, I don't think so. Not really. F tier. Sorry, Tenko. I mean, I don't particularly like you, but I don't hate you, so I feel bad. But, it is what it is. Teru Hanamura Danganronpa 2. Talent clearly on display. He's the ultimate chef. Look at him. He's clearly a chef. He's obviously a little chubby playboy. I like what they did with his face here. Very unique face for the Danganronpa series. Works well. His sort of hairstyle here is a fun sort of nod to his, love master city boy persona. Maybe some more nods to that would be nice in sort of the whole character design. This is unlike Hifumi, this is fat done right. Like, he's fat in a jovial way, in a likable way that informs who he is. Because, this isn't necessarily the ideal male body, but that doesn't stop Teru. Because Teru, he's just he's got enough personality to sort of make up for the fact that, maybe a short, stocky guy isn't the ideal mate. He doesn't give a shit about that. And he's like the little dog that pretends he's a big dog. So I'm gonna give Teru an A. It's a good design. It's not perfect, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's... Well, I think the most visually interesting thing about him is his face. So just for that, I don't quite think his overall design makes it quite up to S. Which leads us into Toko Fukawa from Danganronpa 1, The Ultimate. I believe she's a writer. I think she writes something specific. I think it's young. I think it's teen romance novels. I think she writes. I know it's romance based, but essentially she's a writer. And I don't like Toko very much, but her design does sort of portray bookish nerd who isn't sure of herself, kind of in the same way Mikan does. It's not the most unique design in the book. She kind of looks like she's from Harry Potter to me, but it does define her well. She's plain. She's wearing the same sort of outfit that all the other girls wear. It's a very plain outfit, another purplish character, sort of purplish brown here, unassuming. The long braids kind of work with her being a bookish type, that she's not really going to be cutting her hair, and she's going to be spending all her time braiding it while she's reading a book. Obviously got pretty big glasses, clearly not very sure of herself with the sort of the expression and the arms. Toko, she works all right. Solid B tier. Maybe A. Maybe not. It's a thought. It's a thought process that counts, I think. Tsumugi Shirogane. Not a good character design. She's from V3. She's the ultimate cosplayer. And, okay. But where? Where, though? Nothing about her talent is visible. Nothing about her personality is visible. There's nothing here. This is a worthless design that uses so much visual budget to say absolutely fucking nothing. This is a terrible trash design. You get an clear F tier. There's nothing worth it. Yasuhiro Hagakure from Danganronpa 1, The Ultimate. What are you? You're the ultimate clairvoyant? Yes, that's right. You're not really showing off who you are. I don't see a crystal ball. This sort of thing he's wearing around his as a belt sort of gives me some sort of occult sort of vibe. Nothing about his gear otherwise. His hair is a fucking mess, which, Yasuhiro's a fucking mess. So it works out. But this character, you know, sure, he's a clairvoyant, but what this character really is he's a big fucking goof. And I think that shows. He's got 3 different fucking shirts. He can't decide what he's wearing. He's got no sense of style. His hair is clearly not been tended to in the past 30 years, even though he's not even been alive for 30 years. The design works. It's, you know, who he is mentally. This is Yasuhiro. This is Yasuhiro. So, B tier for you, buddy. That'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And finally, I wanted to talk about Monokuma, because even though Monokuma isn't a student, I feel that Monokuma's design is worth talking about. I think the main reason Danganronpa has survived as long as it has is because of this character design. I think Monokuma is a really, really solid character design that is instantly recognizable. There's nothing like this anywhere else, so it's instantly recognizable as Danganronpa, and it's instantly likable. Whether or not you like Monokuma as a character, his character design is visually appealing in a very interesting way. He's got the dual nature. Half of his design, you know, sort of it portrays what Danganronpa is. On half of it, he's, you know, this cute bear mascot that, you know, it's perfect for, you know, an anime VN dating sim with high school students, yeah! On the other side, he's a fucking brutal despair fest and a deranged headmaster who's going to fucking make you murder everyone. This is a really good design that encapsulates Danganronpa, encapsulates basically everything about the series in one very small, very simple package. I think what's most important about Monokuma is how simple he is. Instantly recognizable, incredibly simple, and yet perfectly describes what Danganronpa is. This character is the easiest F tier of my life. If I was to change anything here, I think I would maybe move Ishimaru up to S. I think if Byakuya is an S, I think I would maybe move Ishimaru up to S. Maybe. I'm gonna keep this as is because these are my sort of my first thoughts. But looking back, I think I'm pretty confident with my S tiers. I think with my A tiers, I would maybe move Ishimaru up, but he's just, his design isn't just quite interesting enough. I think Ishimaru should be on the same level as sort of Kyoko, Miyu, and Nagito. So I'll leave that there. Teru maybe also S, but also he doesn't quite make it. Angie maybe an A. But if Angie's an A, then I think there's some other characters here that I'd put in A, like Nekomaru, so I think B tier is pretty solid. Toko may be an A tier because, you know, there's a lot to her character, but she's also pretty bland. C tier, I'm pretty confident with. The one thing here that I sort of feel bad about C tier, I feel bad about Maki, I feel bad about, you know, Chiaki, but they do kind of fit with the rest of these characters in terms of just not much going on. F tier, the only one I really feel bad about in F tier is Tenko. Akane is nothing. Aoi's nothing. Hifumi's nothing. These Mahiru and Sayaka are nothing, and Tsumugi's nothing. Tenko is something, and she's visually interesting, so I feel bad about this, but regardless of what Tenko's like as a character, the design is not valuable. So hope you enjoyed. This has been a much longer video than I thought. I've been talking for like 2 hours. Good lord. And good night. Praise be to Altua, and I will see you all later. Don't forget to like in the comments and tell me what you think of these characters. If there's some character that you think really got not a deserving spot, you thought they really should get another rank, let me know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. I know Danganronpa people are very, very opinionated, and if this maybe got you interested in the series, we do have playthroughs of Danganronpa 1 and Danganronpa 2 on the channel. We're currently working on the anime, Danganronpa 3. We're doing live reactions to that in sort of podcast format, which you can find on the channel, and we'll be moving on to V3 hopefully very soon as well. So I've been Technovoid, I love you, and don't forget to like and subscribe and click all the videos here in the middle and shit like that. So, bye-bye. Love you.